All right, I tried to get some video with the closest angles that I could. So if we're gonna look at this first one here, this first one here on the top was a fastball at, oops, bad drawing tool there. Let me undo that, at 75 miles an hour. This one here on the bottom was 84. So obviously we're gonna see some big differences there. First thing we always wanna check is that timing. So our timing from lift to land, we are, I'd say that's full foot contact. There's when it looks like it stabilizes right there to 1.16, as opposed to on the bottom here. It looks like that's where that foot's starting to come off right there. On the bottom, into foot strike, we are 0.932. So huge progress there. That's awesome. Now looking at the next thing, we want to pay attention to that back foot. So if we're watching the back foot, back leg, let me go into that kind of load position here. What you're going to see is our knee early on when we first started, right? Your knee is kicking out this way and we're moving a lot of energy. And then we finally get into that load position. But if we're watching that back foot, we're keeping it pretty decent, but we're seeing we're not really driving because we have energy coming this way. And then we have to restabilize it and get it coming back down. We also see here, if we're just looking, well, we'll get into that in a second, but we're going to pay attention to the bottom one here. But now what we're seeing is that knee is staying stable and we're loading down into the ground, and then we get our body moving forward. So that's the big one right there. Next thing we're going to look at is if you notice that glove side, we're getting that glove side up earlier as opposed to here. We're waiting until we're already reaching with that lead leg, as opposed to here on the bottom that we're looking at, we're driving with that lead leg. So if you're noticing that big difference here, you're going to see a big change in the timing of rotation as well. So now again, like that is roughly when that foot right there's when it looks like that foot stabilizes, versus here when that foot stabilizes, we're seeing we're getting the hips to rotate later. And then I can see the ball. Let me change the drawing tool there again. We can see the ball here as opposed to here on the top one. So on the top, we have shoulders and hips both rotating together, where now we have shoulders staying back as our hips rotate forward. So we're storing that rotational energy. The other big thing too is we can see our heads having to kick off to the side a little bit, where now we're keeping our spine a lot more stacked up. We have a little bit of that arch to the back. We're loading the spine a lot better. And then as we're getting into ball release, look at that. We have the back foot down, our torso's driving to the target, where before we see that back foot wants to pop up. We still had decent torso going to the target, but we're just creating a lot more energy into that throw. So the glove side on both of them for me is good. I know this was early on. We'd have been kind of focused on that early, but we're seeing good stability. The hips are starting to actually rotate underneath and create that more separation. So we're landing and then click, 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 and then we get it going. So overall, this has been a lot of huge progress. Like I said, this one here was, 75. This one here was 84. So overall, huge progress. What we're seeing specifically, faster timing, better load, better separation, as best as I can draw this stuff here for you. Let me redo that here. Better separation. Come on now. Better separation. Better sequence. Let me draw another one here just so we can kind of get a feel for what's going on. It's drawing a bunch of crap on there. But better timing, better load with that back leg, better separation, better sequence, and then what I call stack and track, where now, if on the bottom you'll notice it kind of just the chest rolls and then directs. Now your chest loads and it loads and then it snaps, as opposed to just kind of rolls to the target. It's snapping aggressively to the target. So overall, huge progress. You did a great aspect of getting yourself ready for the upcoming season. Seeing huge velo gains. Your stuff is better. Like I said, we're seeing about 3 more inches on vertical break, which I'll go through and give like a more detailed breakdown when I get a little bit of time on your pitch metrics. But overall, we've seen huge progress on everything you've done, specifically the breaking ball, working on that third pitch with the splitter as well. So keep up the good work.